and welcome back to My Artist Friend. My name is Becky Helms. I am your host and your artist friend. This podcast is all about the artist behind the art, the messy middle, the messy brain behind the creativity. And today is our season finale for season 1. I decided to take the summer off because I am the number one caregiver for my 9-year-old. So it's going to be all hands on deck. And I don't want to have to plan around, when he needs to be quiet and when I can edit and all that kind of stuff. So while I will be taking a break from the podcast, I will still be on Substack and Instagram, writing more articles, maybe doing some YouTube stuff because he can kind of help me with that. So we'll figure that out as we go. But podcast is taking a break until September, and today is the last episode. And today I wanted to talk about how I am scheduling the summer and planning for my creativity. So hopefully there are some helpful things for you in this episode, because as someone who is an introvert, as someone who needs to be creative, someone who kind of thrives on a schedule, I have to be very purposeful about my summer time. This is something I've learned as a mom, as we kind of moved out of the daycare world and into the world of the public school system and having summer breaks. The first one really messed me up. I did not know what I was doing. So now that we are in it, dudes getting out of 3rd grade, I have kind of a system in place, and we are really getting settled here. This is our 2nd summer in Michigan, and I think I've got a good idea of what I'm going to do. And after having some kind of bummer mental health, creativity kind of times, I don't know how to describe it. There were a couple of spirals, y'all. And I'm kind of coming out of this, and I want to be more purposeful with my creativity in general. So we're just going to talk about how to make a messy summer that might be mildly out of control and weirdly different into something fun and purposeful and intentional and creative, if that makes sense. I appreciate you hanging out. I promise it'll be worth it. Okay. So first things first, I was listening to the Lazy Genius podcast. So if you are a parent kind of gearing up for the summer, the last few Lazy Genius episodes of her podcast have been really great. And they kind of overlap with my own philosophy, if you will. So those are really great if you want to check that out. She's fantastic. But for me, one of the things she talks about is planting flags. I don't have a cool name for it like that, but I do put down on a calendar the events that I do not want to miss. So that's number 1 when I'm getting ready to schedule my summer, which I probably should have done 2 weeks ago instead of the week he gets out of school. But, we do what we can, right? We hold it all loosely, first and foremost. But the first thing I do is put down all of the events that we definitely don't want to miss. So for us, I always want to go to the Ann Arbor Art Fair. Went to my first one last year, blew my mind, and I want to be able to spend all day there because we didn't see everything last time and I was obsessed. So I will be saving up my little pennies, and it is on the calendar. It's in July. I'll have links to these things too if you're in the area, or if you want to come visit me in July and we can hang out and go to the Ann Arbor Art Fair, and that'll be great. Because honestly, there are a ton of people that come in from out of town. A lot of the artists, we saw artists from all over the place. Anyway, I holler about the Ann Arbor Art Fair in a bunch of my interviews, mostly because I wanted people to come and visit and show there. But Ann Arbor Art Fair, first and foremost, we are going to be in town for that. I'm so excited. And there is Shakespeare in the Arb at the Arboretum, at the Nichols Arboretum in Ann Arbor. And that happens kind of regularly throughout the summer. But I definitely want to check that out. They're doing the Merry Wives of Windsor, and I'm just very excited about it because it's been a long time since I've seen any kind of Shakespeare live, and I want to be kind of a nerd and get my son into it, even though we did, side note, he's got a Yodo player, so it's basically like a little audiobook player, and he's got cards for different audiobooks that you can buy. And I bought like a kid's first Shakespeare for him, and he was listening to it one night, and then the next morning I was like, "Oh, how did you like Shakespeare?" He goes, "Oh, I did not like that." I said, "Why?" He goes, "It's so sad. Everyone dies." It cracked me up. It cracked me up. So anyway, I don't know if I'll get my kid into Shakespeare, but we're absolutely going to Shakespeare on the Arb. But those are kind of the big things. I do want to go up north at some time, but we haven't planned that yet. So as soon as that's on the calendar, then that will also be the great immovable thing. But other than that, that's kind of our big thing. I do want to go visit Texas at some point, but if we do that, it'll probably be towards the end of the summer because uh, I don't want to be in Texas in July or August. We did it last year and it was so much fun just because of the people we got to be around. But I would like to avoid that. So a couple of trips to plan and that's about it. But yeah, put your stuff that's not going to move in the calendar so you can work around it. The second thing I'm doing is I'm going to kind of set a radius around where we are, a kind of reasonable day trip radius. So number 2 is day trips. I would like to explore Michigan a little bit more. We didn't get out quite as much last year, and the summer kind of got away from us, but it happens. But this year I want to make a radius, and on the Lazy Genius podcast, like as she was talking, I was like, oh, I could like pick a day of the week to like go do a thing. And then she mentioned a friend of hers who has like Adventure Wednesdays and they'll go and do something. So I'm going to try and take some day trips with Emmett. And I think that would be really fun. So I do want to like set a limit for how far we could go, which is actually pretty far in this state because I still had kind of Texas proportions in my head. And I'm like, oh, that's like hours away, right? And Andy's like, that is like 2 hours. That's not bad. I was like, oh, I thought that was going to be like 4 or 5. So still getting my bearings there. But a couple of places we definitely want to go this summer. I have to go to Frankenmuth. Duh, multiple times. Frankenmuth is this town north of us. It has Bronner's Christmas Wonderland, which is the greatest place on earth. It is the largest Christmas store in the country, North America, the world. I don't know. It's humongous. And I love it so much. Andy took me there for my 40th birthday and told me just go hog wild. And I said, okay, it's kitschy and there's Christmas stuff. Give me it every time. We also want to go to the Detroit Institute of Arts. We haven't been yet, and I want to go so bad. I know it's been voted like one of the best museums in the country, like I don't know how many years, and it looks fantastic. And I want to go and I want to spend the whole day. And that is absolutely on our list. And then I've heard really good things about the Toledo Zoo, so which is actually, I don't know, like an hour away from where we are. So we'll do some zoo trips. The Detroit Zoo is also really fun, but I want to see the Toledo Zoo. And then hopefully we can get to the western side of the state a little bit. I don't know if Grand Rapids or like Saugatuck or places like that are day trip worthy. That might be like a 3-day weekend kind of situation. But yes, next thing on my list, once I get all the non-negotiables put on the calendar, is figuring out day trips. And not necessarily planning them out day by day, but having a list of places to kind of choose from to go. When I go, all right, it's Tuesday, we're going to go somewhere crazy, pick one, and then we'll go from there. So that's the plan for the day trips. Now, number 3, I want to pick a summer-long project for me and my kid to work on. So I think it'd be really fun to have something that you just steadily work on throughout the summer. And then at the end of the summer, you can have like a big reveal or like an art show or something fun to kind of mark the completion of the project. So One thing personally I want to finish is my stinging holiday quilt. We'll see if I can do it. The key is just my own willpower. But hopefully I can get those done by the end of the summer because I want to have them ready for the actual holidays that they are intended. I have a Halloween and a Christmas quilt that you guys have heard me talk about too much. And part of me wants to finish them so I can stop bugging you about it because you're probably bored with it now anyway. So there's that. And then for other ideas, I kind of want to brainstorm it with Emmett and see what he is into and what he might be into like for the course of the summer because I need something that will kind of hold his attention. But I thought it might be fun to do something like a junk journal or like a summer scrapbook. You know, you could even have like a summer photo book that you put together. You could do an embroidery journal. I mentioned that in the last Snart episode. It looks really cool. So that could be really fun to just have one specifically for, summer 2025. You could do a pink eraser stamp collection, maybe weekly or daily is a little ambitious. I don't want to make anyone promise to a daily project, but whenever you can, pink eraser stamps. That was in another Snart. I think it was May. Was May printmaking? I think so. There could also be, speaking of Snart, like a large paper mache sculpture that you work on throughout the summer. And then by the end, you have something huge and ridiculous and amazing. I think that would be really fun. So go back through the Snart episodes and then see if there is something that stands out to you, something that can be a bigger project that you work towards together or just on your own if you're doing it by yourself. Which is totally fine. So summer long project, number 3. And then number 4, I need a schedule. I don't know if you're like that at all, but if I don't have a general idea of what I have to do for the day and then I have to make decisions about what I'm doing for the day, I am going to flounder. Will absolutely flounder. So I do, number 4 is make a weekly schedule. So this is very loose, but it's kind of naming days where you have recurring activities or recurring meals, and it just kind of eases the burden of decision making because I can get very burnt out on executive function fun time. Like, oh my God. So we already decided to have Brenner Mondays. It's easy. It's breakfast for dinner, no problem. You could do Taco Tuesday. You could have a free for all Friday, and everyone is just everyone for themselves. Figure it out, so then you don't have to mess with it. So that's like kind of meals wise, because dinner is the bane of my existence. But in terms of activities, you could pick like library Mondays. Like you're going to go to the library on Monday and get a new set of books for the week. Or, like I said before, like, oh, it's trip Tuesday. We're going to go somewhere. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to pick? And it could be anything from, the mall down the road to a day trip 2 hours away. Maybe you go to the park on Fridays because you are completely burnt out and you don't want to think about anything and you just want your kids to run or you just need to sit and decompress out in nature. So that way you can have like a loose idea of what you're doing for the week. And then when you do have days where you're like, I have no idea what to do, the days are starting to run together. Okay, well, let's go to the library. Let's Library Monday. I think it's a really fun way to make sure you're getting activities in and to make it easy for you to figure out what to do during the week. And then number 5 is making a daily schedule. Again, we're holding all of this very loosely. Okay, I don't want you to get hung up on like, it's Monday, we have to go to the library. If you're like not feeling it and nothing's due and you can just like renew things on your phone, like you're not required to do these things. They're just there to help you as an idea. So especially for the daily schedule, I used to go, especially during the pandemic when I had my kid home. I didn't want him in daycare for a while, and I made this ridiculous like hour by hour schedule. Like I was some kind of teacher and knew what I was doing. And of course, I never stuck to it and things went off the rails immediately. And it was like, I'm not the kind of person who can schedule out my day to the minute, but if I have an idea of what I'm doing throughout the day, it can help keep me on task. So, that being said, I have a couple of touch points during the day, and that kind of keeps things from blending together. Does that make sense? So, A, I need my morning journal time. That's non negotiable. Okay. And I do that before anyone else is awake. Always happens. We also have our pediatrician said that 2 hours screen time total is per day is what we need to shoot for a 9-year-old. Normally during the week it's just an hour, and then the weekends is 2. But for the summer, it's going to be a lot harder to manage the screen time. And so the plan is we'll do an hour of switch time, and then later in the day, he'll have an hour of vintage games. We got an Apple IIe recently, so we could play Carmen Sandiego and other games that I remembered playing in the computer lab, Oregon Trail, stuff like that. We also have a Nintendo, a Super Nintendo. We've got Game Boy, Game Gear, all of these older things. And that was something in the anxious generation they mentioned, that not all screen time is equal. So super intense iPad time is not the same as when we played video games back in the day. There's a little bit of difference in the focus and the intent of it too. It's not meant to keep your kid online. So I thought it would be fun. We can have an hour of Switch and an hour of just kind of vintage games. Because the vintage stuff too that we have, a lot of it is kind of educational, which I love. So that's a bonus too. So that's the plan. I also want to have snark time in the afternoon, and then just kind of reading time as well. So our day is just kind of revolve around art and reading and a little bit of games. So days when we're not busy doing other stuff, I kind of know what to be doing at different times throughout the day. So in my schedule for the summer, putting down the events and activities that are immovable. So I'm going to get those done first, work around those. I'm going to kind of set parameters for day trips to take so we can explore a little bit more. We are going to choose a summer-long project to do together, which will be really fun. And then I'll have kind of a weekly schedule and a daily schedule just to kind of keep me on track so the days don't blend together and I don't have to make too many decisions throughout the day. Now, the second bit is keeping up with my creativity during the summer, because things can blend together, the day-to-day can take over, and then all of the extra stuff can kind of fall by the wayside. And I don't want that to happen this year, because I think that happened a lot last year, especially last summer. So here is my loose plan on how I can avoid that this year. And number one is schedule time for myself to be creative. It's like the first thing to go when things get crazy. So trying to pick something to do each day that fills my cup, I think, is going to be really important. So, number one, my journal time is non-negotiable. I will be getting up before everybody else still, so I can have that kind of quiet time in the morning, even though it's not revolving around getting everyone out the door for school, but it's something that's necessary. I thought last Saturday, I was like, let me give it a try. Let me see if I can journal while Emmett's awake and playing games, and that's great. No. I got the date written down and then he needed something. And then I wrote a little bit more and then something else is going on. I was like, okay, I need my quiet time. I need my lo-fi music. I need to be alone. So journal time is non-negotiable. I also want to have projects that I can pick up easily and put down when I need to. So my mom always called this being interruptible, which can drive you a little bit crazy after a while. But it is good to have something that you can pick up and put down easily, especially when you have kids or any kind of emergency that you need to get up and go for. So something like embroidery or quilting, or really simple jewelry making, just drawing in a sketchbook, writing a story or a poem or song lyrics. All of these things are things that you can They don't take a lot of supplies or space. Also, crochet or knitting is really good because you can set those things down. It's not like when you're putting out a pattern for making clothes in the middle of everything, or, you're not putting out super intense jewelry making stuff. You're not getting out all the printmaking supplies and you finally get your ink rolled out. And then you've got a kid walking in from outside and you're like, oh, you're not, covered in paint and have paint everywhere. And, you know what I mean. You get it. So pick something fun and quick that you can get out and put away, especially as a parent, just in general, is a good thing to do. And when you're doing crafts with your kids, and honestly, just for yourself, really, know that not every craft, art form, activity, medium is going to be a hit. Like, you might get out a ton of stuff, get all of the supplies that you need and be like, this is the new hyperfixation. This is what's going to make me happy. And then you get it out and you're like, wow, I hate everything about this process. I never want to do this again. Or your kid looks at it and goes, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go read. And you're like, okay. So know that that's going to happen. Okay. Again, with the holding it all very loosely, it's okay if someone doesn't like the craft. It's okay that you have put the effort into it if it doesn't work out. Like, you are not morally obligated to finish and like a project if you've bought all the supplies. Like, you are not a better person for doing that. You are not like some kind of magical being who can conquer everything. You're not going to be good at it at first. So that stinks. But also, you just might not like it, and that's okay. So this is why I love reuse stores like Austin Creative Reuse, Scrap in Ann Arbor. It's amazing because you can get your supplies there for a little bit cheaper. And then if you don't like it, you can donate it back. So someone else can try it. Maybe it's for them. So love a reuse store. That would also be a really good kind of weekly trip to take with your kid if you've got one near you. But yeah, just know that not everything is going to click, and that's okay. And the third thing for kind of maintaining my creativity, my sanity during the summer is to spend time outside and let my mind wander. So getting some solid screen-free time whenever you can is going to be really, really, really important for your brain. And summer is a great time to let yourself wander a little bit because, if you've got your kids, if you've got the time, nature is like the best inspiration, to be honest. So I read the book Stolen Focus a few years ago, actually when we were on the trip up from Texas to Michigan. And there were a couple of things from that really stuck out to me. And it's one of those things I need to be reminded of constantly. You kind of get in the rhythm and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then you forget. And then life goes back to normal. And then it's like, oh, wait, I was supposed to be doing this. But number one is find a flow. So getting super into a project or a subject and just kind of losing yourself to that. Whatever you call it, but I kind of call it being in the flow. And that's when you are writing and everything's just, the words are just flowing onto the page. Or if you're painting and you accidentally sit there for 5 hours and you're like, wait, what time is it? What? Losing yourself in a project, a subject, a book, whatever it is very important for your brain because that helps you to keep your focus for longer. And then also free play, just letting your mind wander, being bored is great because your brain will go places you never even expect when you're bored. I mean, you remember if you were a child of the 80s and 90s like me, we just sat around and stared at things all the time. We didn't have social media. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have stuff, on demand TV. If your favorite show wasn't on and like you had to give your favorite book back to the library, and all you had was a couple of stuffed animals that you were like, okay. And then you would just sit and stare out the window, or you would find something to do. And the kind of creativity that comes to you when you have that free play, where there's not some kind of pre-planned thing that you have to do or instructions on what to do, that just helps your brain come up with ideas faster. It makes you, I don't know, it just harbors creativity. So that is something that we are going to be keeping front of mind. We are going to try and find some flow, and we are going to do some free play. So in with the schedules that I'm holding loosely, we are going to find some time to just be and then see what happens. Oh, the amount of I'm bored that I get now. And my first reaction to him, I'm like, that's fantastic. Congratulations. I'm so glad you're bored. Your brain can wander and do so many wonderful things. And then he's like, oh, but it's fun for me. So, all right. So to recap that, we have keeping up with your creativity during a weird time in your life. I like to schedule time for my creativity, make sure that I have a little something carved out to do, or a project that I can grab and pick up quickly and then put away quickly if I need to. So making that a priority is number one. And I know it's hard, especially if you're working during the summer too, like, oh my God. But carving out just a teeny bit of time for yourself to make during the day, even if it's just a little doodle in the margin of your grocery list, please do it. Please do it. Number two, know that not every craft or activity is going to be a hit, and that's fine. That's, your kid might not like it, you might not like it, whatever. Don't put too much emotion around the stuff and the activity. Again, we're holding things loosely. You can let it go if you need to. That's totally fine. And number three is letting your mind wander, and you never know what's going to pop up in there. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. That's what I'm going to try and do. I hope you hold me accountable. I will be on Substack. I'll be sharing some more crafts. I've been looking up kind of my old crafts from my DIY blog. I'm calling it the Crafty Archive. And so I will be sharing those. And I'm going to try and be creative in other ways this summer and hopefully survive. We can do it. We can do it. And for folks who don't get the summer off, try and get outside, try and get your vitamin D, try and breathe in the fresh air, and take some time for yourself anyway, if you can, because summer is a great time to be out of doors, especially when you're in Michigan. I'm like, I gotta be outside when I can. So anyway, I will stop rambling. Please join me over on Instagram. I am at the Becky Helms. You can join me on Substack. I'll have links all down below. I will maybe make YouTube videos. I don't know. We'll see. But I hope you have a fantastic summer. Thank you so much for hanging out with me over 30 episodes. Like, this is wild that I have 30 episodes of a podcast. Who am I? I will miss chatting into the void for a few months, but I will see you back in September, and maybe I'll have some, theme music at that point. Who knows? But I will talk to y'all later. I love you so much. Come hang out with me on Instagram and Substack, and have a fantastic summer. Okay, I love you. Bye.